B'Shem Hashem Naseh v'Naseach. This week's Parashat Korach. We're going to learn from Sefer Netivot Shalom, famous Sefer book Netivot Shalom, that is written by Stan Rebbe, about the Godel Pegam HaMachloket, the extent of the damage of argument, right, and quarrel, not having agreement, not having peace, and many things else that is within the category of Machloket. Ita Gemara. It is mentioned in Gemara, Talmud, Bavli, Masechet, Sanhedrin, Daf Kuf Yud Amud Aleph, page 110, A. Kol hamachzir b'machloket over belav. Whoever involves himself with argument, he would transgress the lav. That's a negative commandment. He would be transgressing each time a negative commandment. Shenema velo yeh kekorach v'adato. That the pasuk says, do not be like Korach and his followers. ויש לבאר מדוע דווקא בפרשה זו כתבה התורה את האיסור להחזיק במחלוקת ולא ציווי other places. So the question is, how come we learn this negative commandment from this week's parasha, the Parashat Korach? Right? There were other times that there was machloket. Right? Why is it right there, right here? Ken yesh lebaer be'esem Parashat Korach. Mahu godel apegam shel machloket. So we need, in order to answer this question, we need to understand what is the extent of the problem of getting into argument. Shemasinu bo onesh ko chamur, that we find such a, extensive, heavy punishment for. So we need to understand what is it with this that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, would look at it so negatively to have some sort of argument, machloket, with someone. שלא היה בנמצא בעולם עונש ראוי למחלוקת והיה צריך לברוא עונש חדש לזה. So much so that there was no set aside punishment for this, and Hashem had to create a punishment for this מחלוקת of קורח ועדתו. והרי יש בתורה חטאים רבים וכל מיני עונשים ישנם עליהם, ואפילו בעבירות החמורות, עבודה זרה, גילוי עריות ושפחות דמים, גם כן כמות כל האדם ימותון אלה, ובשביל מחלוקת היו צריכים בריאה חדשה שנברא במיוחד לאנשים. Now we see that even by three capital punishments, the three capital sins of Gilui Arayot, that means zenut, adultery, right? Avodah Zarah, worshipping idols, not any being other than Hashem, and Shefichot Damim, that's committing murder, killing someone. That these are the three capital punishments, and there is punishments for these and other things. Right? There is mentions of punishment for that, but for machloket, for starting up an argument, right, there is no set aside machloket. There is no set aside punishment for it. In other words, Hashem had to create a new punishment for this, starting from Korach and his followers. And also, machloket is just a lav, it's just one negative commandment. Why is it so bad? Why is it so severe? Ken sarich biur. So we need to clarify. כמה ראשי מחלוקת שבדין של מעלה אין קונסין אלא מבין 20 שנה ומעלה. ובדין של מטה מבין י"ג ובמחלוקת של קורח תינוקות של בן יומן נשרפו ונבלעו בשעות התחתיות. So we see how severe is getting into argument that when you compare other sins, if somebody needs to prosecute it in this world, he would be prosecuted at the age of 13. Right? A boy at the age of 13, when he becomes bar mitzvah, is equivalent to 18 years old, Abdil, that he would be prosecuted in the Bedin. Now, for bad, for girls, 12. And the heavenly Bedin, the heavenly court, would administer those punishments at the age of 20. Right? That's the age of maturity in the heavenly court. However, to start up machloket and to be among those who make machloket, the punishment would be immediate, doesn't know age. As we see from the story of Korach and his assembly, that they were punished babies, right? Under 13, under 12, didn't make a difference. They all got swallowed up. They were all swallowed into the ground. Dichti v'nashim u'beneihem, as the pasuk says, their wives, their children, tafam, babies, yorduhem, they went down, v'kol asher lahem, and all the belongings, chaim, alive, shola, they went into the ground. The question is, ma shayach onesh letafam? Why the babies need to be punished? What did they do wrong? Imagine, lo aleinu, 1 day old baby would get swallowed into the ground. Doesn't make any difference how old they were. How old one is will be severely punished with argument. We don't find any similarities in the Torah. This is the worst case scenario. So we have to explain, what is it so bad with this? Moshe, Israel, as Moshe Rabbeinu warned them, do not become one of them. Do not join Korach and his assembly. And Moshe Rabbeinu told them, don't even touch their belongings. Don't even touch their belongings. Shafilu bechamurot alzei lo masinuken. We don't find this severe punishment by somebody who commits murder. If somebody commits murder, right, his children would not be punished. If somebody commits idol worship, his children would not be killed. Or chas v'shalom, somebody who commit, giloy arayot, that's zenut, adultery, doesn't affect the children. It will affect spiritually, but not the extent of the punishment like that.
So what is the reason?
So let's see. So it says in the Masechet Yuma, Megadesh Rishon mipnei ma'ara mipnei gimel. Sorry, not Megadesh. Migdash Rishon mipnei ma'ara. The first Beit HaMikdash, as is stated in Masechet Yuma. Why was it destroyed? Mipnei gimel devarim shayu bo. Because of two things: Avodah Zarah, Giloy Arayot, V'Shifot Damim. The three capital punishments. Aval Migdash Sheni. Shehayu oschim Torah, but the second Beit HaMikdash, that people were involved in Limud Torah, Ube Mitzvot, right? Mipenei Ma'achara. Why was it destroyed? Mipenei Shahayta Bo Sinat Chinam, as you mentioned, because there was baseless hatred. Then that comes to teach you. Sheshagula Sinat Chinam keneged shelosha averot. Right? That baseless hatred is equal to 3 capital punishments of avodah zarah, gilui arayot, v'shfichot damim. V'ha guf ha'ta'am habayeh hare sinat chinam eina asura ella. Right? So we see that means explanation by itself. That sinat chinam is asur. It's the lab. Why? Because it says in the Torah, Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha. Do not hate your, do not hate your brother, right, in your heart. Madua shekula hi keneged gimel chamurot. Why is it so severe? That is equivalent to 3 capital punishments. Vehine shelah. Right. Kota beparashat zu. Right. So it says, Shamatayim v'chamishim ish. How many they were? There were 250 people. Korach and his followers. Ubetocham hayu gam anashim, and among them there were ladies too. Kol kavonatam hayita l'shem shamayim. Their kavana was, right, for the sake of heavens. It says here, right, Sha'aminu be'Hashem ve'aminu be'Moshe avdo. Because as it is stated by the Red Sea, by Az Yashir, they came to the level of Emunah to Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu. So they trusted Hashem. They knew Hashem. They knew Moshe Rabbeinu. They trusted Moshe Rabbeinu's leadership, and they had this question in mind that, right, why Moshe has to have everything in control, right? And they wanted to know for the sake of heavens, apparently. Aval hem savru ki ha-machloket hi l'shem shamayim. They thought that this machloket is for l'shem shamayim. Korach and his assembly, they thought that we having this for the sake of heavens.
Yeah, right.
Right? You have the right to ask or whatever. ומחלוקת הייתה מפני שסברו כי משה רבנו רצה שכל הגדולה תהיה רק ממשפחתו. So that Moshe Rabbeinu, they thought that Moshe Rabbeinu wants all the greatness for his family. Right? They said, Moshe, you are the leader. Right? Aaron HaKohen is your brother, and he has the kehuna. Right? And then you have the children.
And then you have the Miriam.
Right? And Miriam and Neviah.
What does this mean?
Right? And then those who carried the Aron HaKodesh. Right? They are Levi. Right? And Korach saw in the vision that later on he will be greater. So he questioned, I saw in the vision and we will be greater, so I must be that over here I need to be greater than who I am right now. And his wife contributed to this whole balagan of the argument. Right? Ki Moshe Rabbeinu rasa shekol hagedula haytarak mishpachto. They thought that this Moshe Rabbeinu wants all the greatness for himself. Ve'hu yitpallel al zot HaKadosh Baruch Hu shelo yaziz hakavod mibeito mishpachto. And they thought that Moshe Rabbeinu is praying for such that his greatness should stay with him and with his family. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rason yerahav ya'aseh u'mimela. Right? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem does that which his trusted servant would ask for, and that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was receiving what he needed. So they thought, what about us? Moshe Rabbeinu should not be so centered, right, in his self-interest and his family. So because of this, there was all this argument. Right? Achen ze melamed HaTorah Parashat Zo. Therefore, these 6 Parashat Korach needs to come and teach us. Et godel ve'osem ha'pegam shel machloket. Come see the extent of damage that machloket argument can bring.
Who's the Rosh?
Right? that this argument the machloket, the fire of machloket is so dangerous that can target anything. There is no such a thing as fireproof when it comes to machloket.
Mostly ego.
You cannot even carry its load. As Rabbi Akiva says, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your friend as yourself. Pirush, kelal gadol hu. So what is the big concept over here? Shekolel et kol haTorah kula. That what do we mean by kelal gadol? What Rabbi Akiva is referring to? That this is the big rule. If you love your friend as yourself, that is as if you kept all the Torah. This is the whole message of the Torah according to Rabbi Akiva. Right? Kedeita sheka'asher Israel ba'achdut. So this comes to tell us when Jewish nation, right, is having unity, v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu mechayes aleim b'toar avinu v'zeh hem nigраim banim atem Hashem Elokechem. That when you are friendly to each other, when you are united, then Hashem will become your father. But if Chas Shalom you're not united, you quarrel, you have argument with your brother, with your sister, with your nation, right? Then Hashem will not act with you as father, and Mimela, and in result, you will not be his chosen nation. You will not be his children. Ferud im Israel. En HaKadosh Baruch Hu nigra avinu ve'en Israel nigra banim. As we mentioned, we will not be his children. Ki gadol ad me'od. So that's why this is so important. This is the Kira'ah Gadol Torah, as our Chachamim teach us in Tanchuma, Midrash Tanchuma, Parashat Nisavim. Right? Atem Nisavim Hayom Kulechem. The Pasuk says that you are today standing. Moshe Rabbeinu is talking, is referring to the day of judgment, the day of Rosh Hashanah. Ma Hayom. Umeir af atem bizman shafela. Just like today is light outside, you can see the day that there is darkness there. Ani meir lachem. I will reveal myself to you, even in the most darkest time of your life. Bizman shatem kulechem be'aguda achad. I will come to you, I will reveal myself to you when you have unity. Even if you are in the darkest and the most severe averot, just keep the unity. Achdut. They say in the Gaza wars, in many wars, they were sending a lot of rockets, and those rockets would be intercepted with Iron Dome, and or if it would not be intercepted, it would go to ocean. It would go to the Yam HaMelach or other surrounding seawater around Eretz Israel. So they asked this Yamach Shemam Zichram, the Hamas Yamach Shemam, or the Hezbollah's generals, you sending 2,000, 3,000, rockets, and they are not getting to their target. What's happening with you guys? And they testified. They are not getting to their target because God is with them. Wait to see when God is not with them, what will happen. And right before October 7, unfortunately, there was so much separation between lefty and righty, religious and not religious, that unfortunately they were successful in in penetrating and committing so much murder. Now Hashem dealt with us with a lot of chesed, with a lot of rachamim. It could have been much more, much more than that. Somebody told me a true story that happened in Ashdod. That one of the yeshivot, this I heard from somebody who lived in Ashdod. One of the yeshivot, right? They saw in the security cameras that this car that belonged to these Yemach Shemam Zichram, Hamas people, the guerrillas, right? They came right by the Beit Midrash and they stopped for a second and then they left. They could have easily come to the Beit Midrash where hundreds of Bachurim and Rabbanim were present and they were there for Simchat Torah.
They were doing tefillah and nobody was talking. They listened to the wall, they put their ears and said, no, there's nobody here. They didn't know that this
That
guy,
I didn't hear. That's maybe something else. What I heard that one of them was caught. One of these Yemach Shemam was caught, and he was questioned. How come you didn't go to this yeshiva? He said we saw this building was on fire, so we didn't go close. But the building was not in fire. Who made this daydream? Hashem. Why? Because they were so much connected with Hashem. They were learning Torah. And one who learns Torah is surrounded with fire, with a special, invisible fire. Okay. And Machloket is the fire that burns everything, unfortunately. So Arush Baruch Hashem comes and saves even thousands. Barachoni Avinu Kulanu Ke'echad Be'or Panecha. So I come, I testify to you. Eimatai Bizbenat. So Arush Baruch comes and Hashem saves even thousands of us. Avinu kulanu ke'echad be'or panecha. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and allow us to see the light of your face. That's the blessing that you give. Kasher kulanu echad az barachenu avinu be'or panecha. That when you are all one, then the blessings will come. Ki koach ze mamshich or. This koach will bring or. Vechen hefech. And opposite is true. הפגם של מחלוקת הוא as the damage of מחלוקת is so much that it says in Zohar HaKadosh Korach azel במחלוקת. Korach went after מחלוקת. My מחלוקת plukta. Her argument is destructive. Pelukta de le'ela vetata. It destroys this word and the word to come. Hainu shefirut ben Israel gorem firut bechol ha'olamot. That this word, right, through argument can be destroyed, and the upper words can be separated and can be destroyed through argument. Right? And also it brings separation between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Israel. Bezeu Shamru. This is what our rabbis of blessed memory teach us. Mekadesh Sheni, Mikdash Sheni, the second Beit HaMikdash, Chara Bipenei, Shehaita bo Sinat Chinam, was destroyed because there was Sinat Chinam. Lenad Mecha, Shegula Sinat Chinam Keneged, Shalosh Averot, as we mentioned. It comes to teach us that destruction of the Sinat Chinam is equivalent to Avodah Zarah, Giloi Alayot, V'Shifichot Damim. Ki Ka'asher Yesh Sinat Chinam, then there is Sinat Chinam, separation between Israel and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then this contributes to Chorban Habayit, V'lachen Ha'onesh HaChamur, B'yoter, Mikol Chata'im V'Onoshim, שבתורה הוא על עוון מחלוקת, כי מחלוקת גורמה פירוד ואילילי ותתאי, that מחלוקת can be separation in this world and in the world to come. והנה הכה כל כלל ישראל שהם העם הנבחר, כולל הם, מה שישראל הם חלק ראשון, חלק אחד ממעל, ומכוח זה הם דבורים בהשם יתברך. כי חלק השם עמו, יעקב חבל נחלתו. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, who has given blessings to Yaakov Avinu, right, and the inheritance that he has given us would be influenced by מחלוקת. והן עניין שלמות הכל ישראל, שהוא על ידי אחדותם הם דבורים כאחד. That the uniqueness of Jewish nation is that when they are united, they become one together and they become one with Hashem, and no power can endanger them. ועל ידי זה מתקיימת הדבקות של ישראל והקדוש ברוך הוא. Then this will contribute to oneness of Jewish nation and Hashem. As we say, Israel be'oraita v'kusha v'chuchatu. Israel, Shem Israel keish echad b'lev echad. They would become one man with one heart, one being. וזה הביאה לקבלת התורה. לעולם תהיו לי ממלכת כהנים, לגוי קדוש. As it says, by accepting of the Torah, that for the first time in the Jewish history, that all the Jewish nation, they became one, they were united together, and they all testified, right, that Hashem is the only Hashem we have. And they became one. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu announced that they are my chosen nation. As it says, Tiyuli Mamlechet Kohenim, that you should be my chosen nation. Like a Kohen that needs to be different than other individuals. Kohenim, Megoi Gadosh. וכמו שבית ראשון נחרב על ידי זה, גם כן לא עלינו. Right? So many things can be destroyed when there is sinat chinam. So we see the extent of argument. A person needs to always, and I want to explain this in the end of tonight's class, right? That many times there is disagreements. The beauty of disagreement is that you could compromise. If you compromise, you give something, you get something, or even if you don't get anything, still you wouldn't lose by giving, by foregoing and by letting this machloket to be solved or to leave the machloket. As our Chachamim teach us, in the times of Arizal Ali HaKadosh, that he received so much Torah of Sod, he was able to learn the secrets of Torah. There was a Magefa going on, there was a sickness going on that was targeting many people's lives, Lo Aleinu. And what happened was, many people were dying in Sefat. So Arizal told them that do not worry, as long as you have peace and harmony within our circle, among the students and their wives, then this Magefa, this sickness will not touch us, will not influence us. But as soon as there is a problem with peace and harmony, then Chas v'Shalom. And it happened that two wives of Arizal's students they get into some sort of argument, and this argument extended to their husbands, and unfortunately this sickness came to the machane, came to the settlement they had, to the place they were living, and targeted Arizal. And Arizal passed away due to that sickness and due to machloket among his two of his students. So we see how destructive is machloket. May Hashem save us from machloket. May Hashem save us from arguments, and may Hashem bless us with beracha v'aslacha, as our Chachamim teach us. Lo masa Hashem keli mekabel beracha ella shalom. That Hashem was unable to find any better receptacle container than the container of shalom. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen. May we always have peace, harmony among ourselves and Am Yisrael v'nomar Amen. Thank you for joining.